On that, so we're going.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we were.
On the thingy. Yeah. Because it's two separate recording lines. Record buttons.
There you go.
So you guys were both up late last night?
Yeah, I mean, it was your sister's high school graduation.
Yeah.
We left at like probably right around 11, but then we just kind of stayed up till like 1. How late were you guys there?
Oh my goodness.
Just 11:30.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yes.
But then you got to drive home and everything, and that takes a while.
Where were you?
At the same party.
No, that you had to drive home from. I assumed it would be at your...
By my parents' house, but it's not that far, but for us to drive all the way over there is far.
Oh, okay. See, I thought it was like at your house, so I was like, oh, that's nice.
I mean, it's like a couple of streets, away from my parents' house. So
Okay. No, I get it.
It's just like a little, kind of like party hall. They also do Zumba there on Tuesdays.
So it's a venue that you can rent for Zumba, which is good for business because that's during the weekdays, and then on the weekends you have parties. So.
That's so cool. I like that. Okay. So then what time did you get home?
Maybe like 12:30.
Fudge.
Yeah.
Okay.
How much beer was left? Because you guys made 30.
No, there wasn't any.
Yeah, that's good.
Wow, that's good though. Yeah, you don't want to have any. You don't want to have any left over.
Moses, he bought a 24-pack
of
of Ultra. Yeah. But I didn't dig into that because I was like, I'm just gonna go home. Yeah. It's late.
You're like, it's 11:30 and my ride home is like 30 minutes.
That's insane.
Did I tell you about my newest obsession?
I don't think so.
It's this lake in Siberia, Lake Baikal. It's the oldest and deepest lake on Earth.
What?
It is like 25 million years old. It's a mile deep. It's like 400 to 500 kilometers long, and with like an average width of like 50 to 60 kilometers.
What?
Yeah, it's on two tectonic plates that are separating, so they think eventually it'll become like its own sea, basically, like in the middle of Siberia. It's like the only place where like all these different animals live. Like those cute little otters you always see pictures of.
Yes.
They're only there, and they have no idea why. They're like freshwater seals. The Navy, the Russian Navy, says they've seen like weird stuff down there. It's like super crazy.
Like the Loch Ness type stuff?
Yeah, no, like 9-foot like humanoid creatures with like weird bubble tops.
Oh, that's so cool.
Like,
Siberia. I'm gonna sound so uneducated. That's in Russia, or is that its own place?
Yeah, that's in Russia.
Okay, fuck. Well, I'm not gonna go there, but maybe.
I think technically you can. There's like a giant railroad. And I think like it is part of like a stop for like tourists and stuff, but it's probably shady for like Americans to go.
Man, but eventually one day, that would be so cool. That would be cool. 25 million years. Yeah, and it's freshwater, you said?
Freshwater. It's like the clearest fresh water in the world because of this fungi. It's like a moss, and it like filters the water. And then there are like crustaceans that come and like eat all the stuff off of that.
Wow.
Filtering and stuff. And then at the bottom, there's like hydrothermal vents and everything. It's literally like its own little ocean.
Holy shit! Do people swim in it?
Yeah,
it's got to be cold though.
Oh yeah, it's like really cold. And then
just stay at the top. Don't go past 5 feet. You'll be fine.
Dude, I don't even think I could get past my ankles in that.
Right? Like depending on how cold it is.
Yeah, but people swimming in kind of like little touristy towns.
That's cool.
Oh, because you said there is islands in the middle because of how big it is.
There's islands in the middle, and like they're they're like not completely cut off. I mean, you can get a boat there, but like literally, you have to take a boat to get there in the summer. And then in the wintertime, everybody just drives their cars across the top of the lake because it's like...
No,
it'll literally... like it gets super windy up there because you're like kind of up in the mountains, and the ice on the...
So my car would just... on the ice. Annie is so fucking light.
I guess you're right. You're just gonna slide on. I didn't think about that.
So funny seeing a little Hyundai along.
Like fuck, and like I'm really trying, and the rest of the car is just going this way.
On the other side of the lake. You're like, God damn.
Fuck.
She misses the island.
I would. That's what I'm saying. It'd be awful. And I'd just be like, this is my life now. Day 486 of being.
I hope the ice melts soon.
Yes. Now I just want to die. I'm ready for the ice to melt.
Those weird little like humanoid creatures come and they take you in.
Oh, they make me one of them.
Yeah, they adopt you. In your car, they're like, hey, thanks for the ride.
This is interesting technology.
Thank you for gifting it to us. You're welcome. This was my intention.
How funny would it be then the next time the like Russian Navy's down there, they're like scuba diving, and then they're like, oh, this report we found 4 9-foot humanoid-like creatures, you know, with these bubble helmets, and 1 American girl.
I know.
She just tried to talk to us and then started making weird clicking noises to the things.
I know that you said, and I mean, if you say people drive on it, obviously it's thick enough. Like the ice is thick enough. I get that people drive on it, but I have hard enough times staying on like the fully formed cement. So I really.
This is probably, I mean.
I get worried that.
Thicker than a sidewalk. Like it literally said it'll blow winds and it'll move the ice around on the top of the lake and it'll kind of push it almost like kind of here when it snows, it'll push the snow into like little like embankments and stuff. And the guy's like, yeah, it'll be like 4 or 5 meters tall. Like it'll be like 10 feet.
Holy fuck.
It's a lot of ice.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. So the guy literally was driving like a van, almost like a Volkswagen bus on it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it was not a small...
Oh, my gosh. Do they set anything out on the ice to show you, like, this is where you go? Or do they just...
No, they just say you kind of just know. Like, the guy literally was like...
You kind of just know the general direction.
He was like, you know what ice is good, you know what ice is bad. But then, right after...
You learn that mistake once, and then you die.
No, right after he said that, he was like, there was a time last year where I went under... And he was like, and we just, you know, you just lose the car. You gotta...
You just lose the car?
And they survived?
Yeah, he's like, yeah, he went in, you know. I mean, he didn't go into, like, detail about it, so I don't know if he was, like, in the water and then, like, pushed the door open and swam out like Michael Phelps, or if he...
That leads me to believe it was a horrific event if he doesn't want to talk about it.
He literally was, like, you know, just... driving across and like his front or back end just went in and he was like, well, I gotta get out. Car's gone. What can I grab?
Yeah, like he wasn't even submerged at all.
Yeah, like
but it just sounds like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it wasn't like Mission Impossible where it's like,
that's insane.
I saw this interview with Miles Teller, the actor, the guy in the new Top Gun. He's in a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
That's like the newest thing he's in. And he was talking about, they did some of the like actual training for like the Air Force, and he said there was part of it, something they were doing, or maybe it's in the movie, I don't know, so maybe spoiler alert, but I haven't seen it, so
I hear it's good. I haven't seen it either.
Basically said they tied them up, put them in like a chair, and you're in like a cage, and they'll like dunk you in the water and like basically like dunk you like over and over again, almost kind of like, you know.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
And then he was like, dude, I'm an actor. Like, I don't need to do this stuff. He's like, Tom, like, you're in your own lane. Like, you do it. Good for you. But I don't want to. That's insane.
Jeez. That's insane. That's Tom Cruise. Dude, he's insane. Good for him. There's never going to be another one like him when he dies. He's fucking insane. He's like...
Is it like he's older, star. Right? He's like
55.
I was gonna say, yeah, he's in his 50s and he's doing that shit.
Yeah.
I had a friend who joined the Air Force, and when he told me that's the stuff he went through, I was like, no, what bullshit? And he was like, yeah, I did, to sit in a fucking computer room, because he wasn't even eligible to fly because he had like a thing with his eye. He wanted to fly, but he couldn't. But so, you know, obviously he had to go through all the training and shit, but I'm just like, that's insane. That's intense.
I think it's the Navy or the Coast Guard, one of the two, maybe both. They sit on the beach super early in the morning, just in your underwear at like the tide. And you just have to like lay there, and you have to like stay on your back so the water's gonna like rush over you and then like come down, and then it's gonna like rush over you and like come down. And they just get out there like, you know, probably 4 a.m., 5 a.m. Probably 5 a.m. if they're lucky, because then maybe the sun's kind of coming up.
Right, makes the water warmer, maybe.
Yeah, they do that. Or they have the thing.
No, because the current's higher at like.
Oh yeah.
That's
at,
why.
like dawn and dusk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll rise.
And it's
up.
stronger, so it just
Yeah, like, I mean, and it's not like, oh, it passes them a little bit.
I mean, Ben and I were just at the beach, and we went out there like early in the morning because we wanted to get there before people got there. And yeah, we couldn't go into the water in the beginning. We had to wait until the water calmed down because I was like, this is no.
You're like, I'm gonna get swept to sea.
Yes. And it's
and become a mermaid.
And it's bad when I do because I will just laugh as soon as the waves start like hitting me to the point where you can't get up. You're just constantly submerged underwater. I start laughing. I can't help it. I think it's fucking hilarious. So twice Ben just had to walk over and literally pick me up out of the water, and I'm just laughing. And he's like, "You almost died. You should be screaming." And I'm like, "It's just so fun."
It would have been such a funny way to go. Still shoot the pod. Just tell them.
Like if I had to drown, that would be the way. I would go out laughing. I don't know why. That is, I find it entertaining.
At least you'd be smiling, you know, you're going out happy. I mean, maybe you're freaking out kind of internally.
Internally, legit, yeah. I'm dying and I'm probably vomiting, and but it's great. When you
all gassy
when
they open up her stomach.
When you were talking about the lake in Siberia being the oldest one in the world, right? In the world.
I think it was the article that I read.
That's fucking...
Or the YouTube video that I watched was like the average age of a lake.
We should just always refer to them as articles. We'll know that it's videos and like podcasts, but we'll be article I read.
It was like a, you know, it wasn't like BBC, but it was like a little news.
No, it's like a news, right? But so that's why I'm like, it equates to the same thing.
Yeah, this thing I saw or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was like the
news report.
The average age of like lakes everywhere else is like 30 to 35,000 years old.
What?
Yeah.
That's pretty dope.
Like relatively new in terms of like the earth itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, that lake has been around for 25 million years. And it's a mile deep, so I mean, you know, how crazy would it have been to be there when it was like a little pond? And then like if you live forever, you're like, dang, this place got huge.
I remember when my house was right here. Then I had to rebuild a house there. Then I remember I had to rebuild a house.
You just keep going up
there. So when you were talking about the lake, that reminded me in Nolens, one of the places we went to Lafitte's Blacksmith Bar, and it is actually the oldest bar in America. And I think it's like the building is not the same because apparently all of New Orleans burned down.
Yeah, a couple times, right?
Yeah, a couple times. And so that bar had to be rebuilt, but it's in roughly the same place. But it was super cool. It still looked very old when they rebuilt it, because they did rebuild it in like the 1800s. But Lafitte, that name and the establishment, was the oldest bar in America.
That's insane.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Did you drink a beer there or no? Or just walk by?
Did I have a beer? We stayed and we drank because my cousin Leah, she has a friend that works there. Her new husband, Jeff, has a friend that works there. They've been friends forever. So he was like, if you go there and you say, hey, Jeff says hi, he'll take care of you. And he did. He took very good care of us. He was very nice. The drinks were very strong. Yeah. I told Ben at the beginning of the night that I was going to have 4 drinks. That's like, what? When Haylie's going baller, she's got 4 drinks. I could not even finish 2. They were so...
Like cocktails or...
Yeah. Cocktails. Yeah, not beers. When I say drinks, I mean mixed drinks.
Well, because you have IPAs, they can knock you out too.
Right. No. Definitely. So like, no, the context is key. But they had like a voodoo juice, thing that I drank, and then they had some other like coconut rum type thing that I also had. But I couldn't finish the second drink. I mean, I almost did. I had like this much left. But the drinks also were like
like in a big glass.
I was going to say, they would fill it up to like here if the cup was this size. And that's a lot of alcohol.
It's a good sized drink. The worst is
it
when
is.
You pay it and then it's like this little tiny thing.
Yeah.
You put it in like the champagne glass. You're like, oh, I hate you.
Yeah, no. But like then we went to Memphis and we went to a couple bars in Memphis, and I ended up having like 3 or 4 drinks that night. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not even like I'm not even tipsy yet. And I mean, in freaking New Orleans, I had 1.5 drinks and I was like, okay, I might need to lay down. Like, he took care of us. He's a very good man.
Well, it might be the elevation too.
Is Memphis higher?
Should be.
But like a lot?
I don't know. Tennessee has mountains, but... Yeah,
Okay. That's okay. Legit. It could be. Because, I mean, New Orleans is very low. Fuck.
Yeah, they get flooded.
They're like they're 5 feet below sea level. Yeah. Or, I mean, above.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, that's insane.
No. We went on a historical haunted tour, and one of the facts that the tour guide gave us, which I always like the haunted ones because, one, it's like, something might happen. Nothing ever does, but it'd be cool if something did. And two, you learn about the more tragic things that happen, and I'm into tragedy. I'm like, yeah, tell me like the terrible things that happen there. But so he was telling us about all the tragedy or whatever, but one of the things he drove by, he was like, oh, this is one of the highest spots in New Orleans. This is about 5 feet above sea level right here. And I was like, what? It was just like a random sidewalk. He was like, we're passing the highest part of New Orleans, people. And I was like, what? What's happening?
It's like high tide could knock it out. That's what's happening to a lot of places, though. Like
they fight for that like little piece.
Yeah.
I'm like, I get to stand here.
Yeah, no, it is sad. Like, that makes me sad whenever I'm like, oh, fuck, I feel like we're sinking. But
that's like, I think it was, God, where is it? Indonesia or somewhere. They have to like move. They're moving their capital because their capital is sinking.
No.
Yeah, like it literally, they've been dealing with so many floods that they were just like it'd be like if DC was flooding and they were like, well,
we just have to move.
Chicago. Let's just
pick up the White House and
move it on. Holy shit, that's
intense.
intense.
White House in Chicago. They're like, we have plenty of white houses. How big do you need?
Wow.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine though, like just being like, oh, I live in the Capitol. I live in the old Capitol. Oh, so you're underwater? Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, God. Speaking of Capitol, no, that is super cool. What I'm about to say just makes us look so stupid. I saw a TikTok of a guy going around interviewing, like, younger people, asking them questions about America to see how much they know. And I'm like, they never play the ones where people know everything. I know there are people out there that know, like, Declaration 1776 and first president George Washington.
Like Bill Maher, and they asked like, what's the biggest like city on this continent? And they're like, Asia.
Yes, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Or like people who can't use a can opener.
Yes. But I saw one, and the guy asked a girl, "What's the capital?" And she was like, Of what? And he said, what's the capital of America? And she was like, of America? And he said, yeah, what's the capital of USA? And she was like, I don't think we have one. No, like states have capitals, but America doesn't have one. And I was like, oh, goddamn.
The worst is when they all like go to a college campus and do that. If you go to that school, you're like, I promise that we're not.
God, we're not all like this, but of course they're only going to play the ones where we look hella stupid because it's fun.
All the smarter kids are studying, so they're not out walking about.
That's true.
These people are interviewing down frat row. They're like, not.
Yeah, they're going to go play basketball or something like.
Yeah, it's literally like a Tuesday at 4. People are like, I'm studying, I'm in class.
Yeah,
so you find the people that are not in class and you ask them those questions.
They ask him, they're like, so what class are you going to? He's like, actually, I'm skipping. Perfect.
Gym.
Perfect. Have I got questions for you? So 1922. Okay. What?
That's Prohibition times.
And.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
22?
Yes, because I think Prohibition ended in 1926.
Nice save.
When did Prohibition end?
I think I want to say.
Let's. What do you guess?
1950.
I think it was 1919 to 1927.
1933.
Oh,
wow. Okay. Wow. So we were way off. Okay, but so yes,
Prohibition. When did it start? Was that when it started, or that was when it ended?
When did Prohibition start? It ended December 5th, 1933.
Yeah.
It started January 17th, 1920. So for 13 years. I did not know we were dry for 13 years. Okay. And then let's say our parents are all like the economic status that they are when we were younger. Okay. What do we think, if anything, what do we think would have killed us in our childhood? Because in 1922, 100 years ago, it was common knowledge. Parents just knew for about every 3 kids they had, one was going to die.
Oh, I've heard about that.
You're one of 3. I'm one of 3.
Yeah.
So what do we think, if anything, would have killed us? Because you had something with your eye. Like, would that have killed you? What happened? Or did it just stop?
I think
it just stopped working.
I probably would have absolutely no vision in the eye, I think.
Because they were able to kind of...
Yeah, because the nerve got inflamed, and then that's what ended up like causing it to die, because it like suffocated or something like that.
Okay.
I was on anti-inflammatory steroids, so it brought it down.
And I don't think we had anti-inflammatory steroids in 1922.
I mean, we might have, because I mean, anti-inflammatory, that's like
penicillin. But penicillin was in the 30s. Penicillin was in the 30s,
yeah,
so
right.
literally
I'm a couple years out from anything that could probably.
Yeah,
I don't know if that would have killed me, but
only the healthiest of the healthy. Now, your parents did fairly well, so you like had plenty to eat.
Yeah.
I was a single. I was raised by a single mom. She wouldn't have been able to get a job. She wouldn't have been able to get the job that she had. She was getting obviously paid very well.
Yeah.
Because she was able to work in a medical field. She wouldn't have been able to do that in the 20s.
I don't know, because I don't know. Like, I mean. Wasn't like polio like was back then and stuff like that, right? Polio.
I don't know.
That's true. That's true.
I'm trying to think of like if basically you can kind of say
because like those things,
like how many
those things we obviously wouldn't be able to know. But I was just thinking, there's anything that you've experienced in your childhood that you were like, oh shit, yeah, if that happened to me 100 years ago, I would have been dead.
I don't think I have any like injury or anything maybe that would have like really like killed me or anything, even like
and like
broken bone.
I was gonna say, and no like no appendicitis issues, no tonsil issues,
no tonsil issues.
Okay.
I'd still have my wisdom teeth, so my mouth would be hurting.
I was gonna say my mouth would be hella hurting because I did not have enough room in my.
But
well, no, what would have happened is they probably just would have pulled my top teeth, and so that my wisdom teeth could come in. They'd probably just be like, "Oh, you have teeth under here. I don't know why," and then they would just start pulling.
We'll just make room.
Right. They would just pull adult teeth out, so my wisdom teeth could come in.
Right?
Yeah. Right. So they wouldn't know. They'd just be like, "That's weird. You have teeth under there. Okay, well maybe these are still your baby teeth," and they just fucking
Let's experiment.
Yank them out. Yeah, literally, that's what it would be.
If it grows, it grows. If not,
that's what it would be.
God, that would be rough. I think that would be one of the worst things about like back in the day if you had like tooth pain, because like that's just not gonna go away, and the process to get it out was not gonna be like a comfortable process.
Right.
That's what we should look up. Dentists back in the day.
Because we
take them for granted now. So
we didn't even have morphine until the fucking late 1860s is when we first got morphine. Jesus. And I mean, and then after that we were like, well, this is it. Medical marvel. We kind of stopped looking for more medicines because we were like, this is the best.
You're right.
But
feel a thing.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
I asked my mom because I remember being in the hospital when I was younger. I don't remember being in the hospital, but I remember people telling me that I was in the hospital when I was younger. But I couldn't remember why. I could have sworn I had pneumonia. So in my mind, I was like, okay, so if I had pneumonia, then this is when I was like 3 or 4. So if I got pneumonia in the 1920s when I'm 3 or 4, I probably would have died, especially considering my mom was a single parent. She would not have been able to pay for healthcare. I just would have died. That probably would have happened. So I called my mom to confirm this.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Because you said you were 3 or 4, and then you said that you remember it was pneumonia. Does your mom say
I thought I remembered being told, hey, yeah, we had to take you to the hospital when you were younger for pneumonia. And I was like, oh, okay. I thought I remember being told that. So I asked my mom to confirm this. I was like, hey, we're going to talk about it. I want to make sure I got all my facts straight.
So Haylie's dead in the 20s. I think I'm alive. Did you have anything like that?
Because I
called my mom. That's not why I went to the hospital. I went to the hospital because I told her my tummy hurt. I just had a really hard poo, and the nurse needed to dig shit out of my butthole. So I probably would have been fine.
Or not.
Yeah, maybe you would have died. Maybe they didn't.
No, because my mom told me, she was like, then I felt stupid because I was like, oh, this is probably something I could have done. And the nurse told me, it's fine. Parents don't often know the first time they come through. But apparently, yeah, more experienced parents are like, yeah, sometimes you have to do that. So my mom probably would have just been able to be like, neighbor woman, help me. And she would have been like, have you been in her butt?
Did not know this was a thing. Never heard of that.
But yeah, they did. But because I was in the hospital, they obviously did the fancy stuff and they put me on fluids so that like things would run normal and stuff. Apparently I was a little dehydrated, but I don't think I would have died. I think I was just throwing a fit. My mom was a young mother. She had a 3-year-old girl who was like, Mommy, my tummy hurts. And I'm like, she doesn't know why. And she's like, So she takes me to the hospital and it's like, she's got a hard poo.
But I mean, you can still get sick from it.
You can. No, I know you totally can.
And back in the day, they would have just gave you morphine.
And then I would have been passed out. I would have like passed through and we would have been fine.
Yeah.
So I think I would have survived.
Just had the runs while you're asleep.
I mean, I just feel like everybody with diabetes, like we had no diabetes medication. So those people just would have died.
Well, you had
people
like
that
kill for your game. So
in the 20s?
In the 20s?
Depending on where you live, you might have to.
Yeah.
Especially here. If you lived in Oklahoma, probably.
Yeah, but Oklahoma City always had like at least like some kind of like commerce and stuff.
Yeah. My mom would have definitely had to stay in the city because she wouldn't have been able to hunt or grow her own food. Like she would have spent all of her time like at work because she had no husband. And in the 20s, no man would have her.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's 22. When did women get the right to vote? Wasn't it the 20s? Sometime in the 20s?
It was 1918, I think.
1918. I could be off, and
When did women get the right to vote in America?
I think you're right. I think it was 1918. What am I?
1920.
1920. Yeah.
1920. So my mom could vote.
She could vote, but
would
she get hired?
I was going to say they were still very anti-women in the workplace because this is when men were coming back from the war and they wanted to return to their jobs. Yeah. But the women were like, no, we're here now. And they were like, fuck you. Oh, yeah. You have pussies. Which is true.
Man, the war. Was there, in the First World War, was there a draft? Did we have a draft? I know we did in the second, and in Nam.
Did America have a draft in the First World War? That's a good question. Over 24 million American men registered for the draft for the First World War in 1917 and 1918. I don't know if that answers our question.
Basically what you're saying is they went of their own accord. It wasn't like...
Right. And like a draft is like when you're forced.
Yeah. Maybe because it was the first one.
Oh, okay.
They learned from the first one.
Of the almost 4.8 million Americans who eventually served in the war, some 2.8 million had to be drafted. There you go.
So
over half had to be drafted.
My dad would probably be working in some factory with like PTSD.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. My dad, because I did have a dad. Obviously that's how I'm here. He probably would have died if we're being honest, because he probably would have been drafted. Actually, I don't know, because if you're the only son of the family.
Yeah, but was that a thing in the 20s? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know the draft.
Well, he also had a stepbrother, so let's say and
were they twins?
Tim was smart. Tim went to law school, so we'll say my dad went to draft. And 1919, my dad also started smoking when he was like 13 or 14, so he would not be able to run. He'd be dead. My dad would have died in the war.
I think my dad would have lived. He would have made it back. He'd have some problems.
Your dad sounds like he would have made it. I've also seen pictures of your dad. He's bigger. He looks more athletic. Like, I just think he would have.
I mean, he was like
I'm almost taller than my dad. Like, I just think my dad, when he saw the draft, he'd be like, well, this is it. I'm dying. And he
would get missed. He would get overlooked.
I don't think he'd really try. I think he'd hedge his bets. He's like, all right, well, I'm just going to stay low to the ground. And then
maybe if when they line up, they look over me and then I can just walk out of it.
He stands up on the trench. I can't even see over.
Just like a little piece of his hair's hanging out over it.
Hey, we would have made it back.
So you think?
Okay, but what about you? Yeah, do you think you'd be alive?
Maybe. I don't know. I know I had like a ear infection when I was younger, but that's pretty much it.
Those suck.
Yeah.
I freaking hate ear infections. I know you said toothaches suck, and they definitely do, but if you had like chronic ear infections, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because like even when I was a teenager, like it would still come up.
Dang.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah. And see, I think really the only two medicines they had morphine, and then they had the opium that women would drink when they had headaches. So you'd just have opium. They'd be like, here you go.
Be an addict.
Like literally, they'd be like, oh, you probably have a headache. They wouldn't know it's an ear thing. They'd be like, oh, it's just a headache in your ear. That's just, women get those here.
He's just like barely awake. Like, yeah, it's a headache.
But I mean, that's pretty much it for like, I guess when
So
you're
you never
born.
needed to go to the hospital?
Maybe when I busted my knee, but I don't know what they did back then if you had to get stitches.
Yeah, or if they just like cleaned it up.
Break your knee or like?
No, like I fell, like my knee would hit right here, like the corner, and so I don't know. It's a weird part of the knee. So like if this is my knee and it's bent, where I hit right here, and it kind of made like a smiley face, and so like it opened up like this, like the meat opened up, and you could see the bone.
Okay.
And so, but that's when I was, I don't know, like 13 maybe.
Okay.
So I don't know what they would have done back then, because when we went, they put like this cream that's like hot or like cold and then hot, and then they put the stitches. But that's pretty much it. And I mean,
so they probably just would have been morphine and stitches. No
cream. Yeah, no
cream.
So like it maybe would have got infected.
Nothing to clean it. So yeah, you might have got infected, but at 13, you probably would have been okay. You're young, so like, and you have a pretty good immune system, so I think you probably would have been okay.
I would have lost a leg.
Any form of like kind of like antibacterial, or even like, because
antibacterial,
back then they might have even just done like rubbing alcohol.
Yeah, I was gonna say just alcohol.
I even thought rubbing alcohol was like the 30s or 40s. When was rubbing alcohol invented? Let's see. We're gonna be conscious experts. Okay. Well, the name rubbing alcohol was coined in the 1920s, so it had to work in the 1920s, right?
Yeah, it had to be there.
They used it. So in the 1920s, they used it as perfumes and cleaning solutions. We did not use it for its uses today until 1938.
So you're gonna pour some whiskey on that?
That's what I'm saying. Like it would have gotten infected, and I would just lost the leg.
If it got infected, but I still feel like, I don't know. You're right. It was so much dirtier back then.
Yeah,
you're
it depends
right.
on like what you got to do during the day.
Yeah.
Water wasn't clean.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and also back in the day, like everyone's just working in like a factory.
We did not get clean like chlorinated water that's healthy that we can drink until like the 1930s, and so yeah, people frequently died of just like, oh, I don't know, they died.
They had bad water.
They had bad water. Well, and honestly, we would lose a lot of people to bad milk, because pasteurization for milk also wasn't a thing until like the 30s.
I mean, they were like freaking basically out there also just like riding their bikes. They got milk in the sun all day.
Yeah.
You're at the end of the route.
It's so bad. It's so bad. But obviously they don't know. They were also eating like lead paint, so it's fine. It's fine. But
they also used to have like, well, it was called like radon or something like that, and it literally was like radioactive like drink that they would use for medicine.
Yep.
And they would just be like, oh, whatever it is, you'll feel better. And it was like, yeah, because it's literally killing your entire body. Like,
it's literally a cure-all.
It's killing your brain cells that tell you this is painful.
Yeah, and they literally this like, this guy like drank it, and then eventually he just started like falling apart.
That sucks.
Like he literally.
It does, because you think you're doing the right thing. You get this shit from a doctor or a medical professional, because back then.
And you couldn't question them either.
No, they had doctors, but you could also sell shit from a stand and call it medicine, and you wouldn't get in trouble for it because they didn't have the FDA.
Yeah.
So people would think it was legitimate medicine.
Yeah, they'd be like, look at this oil, this turtle oil that can fix and heal every wound you have.
And people would take this and think it's really helping them. Like,
and it's like
just
kerosene.
So many things could have killed us. Also, I would get into anybody's car.
Well, there wasn't that many cars.
Yeah, I was like, people in the 20s, I think a car was like a real, like, oh, you're kind of rich.
A commodity.
Well, because the Ford was, when he made the assembly line, was when cars started becoming
the 30s.
more available. But I think you're right. I think in the 20s were devoid of a lot of stuff, and then it was like the 30s really were things.
It was still the crank one where you had to crank it.
The automated assembly line, I should have said.
Well, automated assembly line is going to be way later.
When did Ford
Manual
invent
assembly.
the assembly line?
Yeah, because he was the one who did like really dug into like the division of labor type of.
Yeah. Well, he didn't invent it.
Okay.
He marketed
He
it.
introduced the creation of the assembly line in 1913. So there could be some cars. There could be some cars.
Some people, you know, who have a little bit more money then, but yeah, no, they would be fairly commonplace at that point.
Well then, I probably would have gone with anyone that was like, hey, your mom told me to come get. Okay. I probably would have.
Well, yeah, because we didn't know anything. You know,
Especially,
they didn't have, like, stranger danger. They were like, the neighborhood I live in is safe.
Especially if we don't have a whole lot of food, because there were times when my mom, she was like, yeah, I had, after paying all the bills, I had like 28 cents left in my bank account. And I was like, well, this is going to be fun. So I know we would have struggled with eating. So if anybody was like, hey, if you come in here, I'll give you food. I'd be like, okay, can you give me some for my sister too, please? He'd be like, go bring her. Okay, I'll go get her.
I'd get all your sisters.
I'd go get all my siblings. Guys, let's go. I'm going to feed
Just
us.
random kids. This is my sister too.
And I murder our whole family. And my mom's like, God damn it. Statistically, one of y'all should have lived.
Yep.
6 of you, one of y'all should have lived.
Well, it's funny too, because then like nowadays in 2022, you try to catch a kid like that, they're literally like, pervert! This guy's a pervert!
Yes.
Like, logged them on like their
Yes.
iPhone stuff, and like back in the day, you would have just been like, yeah, sure. Candy, you got any steak or anything good?
So I definitely, I feel like there's a good chance I would have lived, but also I probably would have died.
See, I probably, if I'm growing up in the, you know, it's 22, and then my dad. So are we like the same age? Like I'm like 26.
Well, you were saying born in 22?
Yeah,
like,
how old are we? In 22? Is it like our high school? You know, like 16
we're
to
high
like
schoolers.
22?
We're high schoolers. We're high schoolers in 22.
In 22. Yeah.
So
that just means I would have got drafted in World War II and then possibly died over there.
oh fuck.
Yeah. Because I would assume I lose an eye and then, you know, or not lose an eye, but like...
Well, I don't think you can go.
That probably would have prevented you from being in the draft.
Yeah,
That's a
probably
disability.
they would have put me just behind a desk somewhere.
Nice.
Oh, so I'm living. I got...
Nice.
I'm chilling.
Okay, so you live. Juan,
did you get drafted?
Well-
can you see without your glasses or...
No.
Juan lives. Juan also lives. Okay.
Did they care about glasses back then?
I don't-
In all the
they just cared
movies
about
in like
eyesight.
Vietnam, like there's always one guy with glasses.
Like you couldn't have disabilities, so.
I think you're right. I think they actually didn't start testing for eye stuff until probably the 50s or 60s.
I mean, it's such a trope in those movies for like the one.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're going off a movie, I don't know how accurate that is.
But I wonder, like, because I know.
But just because your eye would have gotten worse, like I feel like also you could fake it. You could kind of like hobble in and be like, "Sorry, it's hard for me to see. I only have."
Just like sit with my hand like that or whatever. I
Well, they also had
all day, and then I get home and I'm just like, man,
That's fantastic.
they also had camera people, so like you could be the photographer.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, because they needed people to document that we were winning.
Yeah. So you could have been like the journalist and had glasses.
They'd be like, hey, you got an eye for this, and I'm like, oh man.
Let me catch it on my right side.
Yeah. They're like, did you get that? I'm like, I think so.
Maybe.
Possibly. This is for a right-handed person. I really need a lefty.
We watched like a natural, like a historian episode, and it'll be like, journalist Trevor True actually captured some of the worst images we've ever seen of the war to this day. And it'll be like blurry rocks. Yeah. And it'll be like a can on the ground and like the fighting's happening behind you.
Well, he's like, half of the screen is black, and they're like, what happened? He's like,
Thank you to journalist Trevor True. We knew that they had Coca-Cola cans back in 1922.
We brought Coca-Cola to Vietnam. Nam was way later, but I assume I would be the journalist.
Oh yeah, they would have to keep you when they see those photos from the first one. They'd be like, "This guy
like, look at this
sees shit that we didn't know. We needed to see."
He finds clues or stuff.
Yeah, all my pictures lead to like the freaking capture of Hitler.
That's great. That'd be impressive.
That'd be so hilarious.
So
I'm behind a desk. You are starting and getting in random people's cars.
Yeah,
You're
for sure.
Dead to a serial killer back in the day.
I'd like to say I could maybe be someone's cherry. Maybe he's not a serial killer yet. Maybe I give him the courage and the strength to be who he is.
So we'll flip a coin on that.
Okay.
All right. And then you probably get drafted.
Yeah.
But you probably also get behind a desk because your eyesight's like pretty bad, right?
Yeah, you have bad eyesight too, right?
So surely they wouldn't waste a
But I think
gun
because
and
they
ammo.
needed people, they would just throw you in there.
Honestly,
That's what I'm
yeah.
saying.
If your disability
And
wasn't
if you
that
had,
bad.
and if you had glasses that worked, because they had glasses in the 20s, so you probably would have served.
Yeah, they might throw you in. I might slip just because they'd be like, you sure it works? I'd be like, shine a flashlight in it. And then once they see my...
Well, yeah, you can't shoot a gun and not see where you're shooting.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, look, I'm fully right-handed and that eye is just not... It's a shot in the dark at that point. I'm just...
They gave him an eye patch. Here you go.
They could. I mean,
if we're trying to be like really, really historically accurate, Juan probably would have died because they sent in a lot of the minority regiments on the suicide missions.
Oh, that's true.
Americans,
that's true.
Americans
you're on the
sucked.
beach at D-Day.
Yeah.
Americans hate people.
Maybe I catch Juan in a picture.
His left foot. We don't see how he died because you missed the shot.
Trevor's like, I think that's his left foot.
The boot just says J Tovar. I'm like, this was Joe Tovar.
That's fantastic. Oh man, it sounds like you guys would have had a way more interesting life.
Do you have a coin? Let's flip it and see if you're dead or not.
I don't have a coin on me. I know I have one somewhere out there. Jeez, that would have been. Because I feel like I either would have been, someone's like a regular routine for a serial killer, or I think I would have broken someone's cherry and I would have been their first kill. I like to think I'm special enough to be the first.
But in both those situations, you're dying.
So. Oh, no, I know. Oh. No, for sure I'm dying.
Oh, you're saying in the 50% chance that you do die, you're either a seasoned veteran is like, this is
She's picking her own path.
Yeah. I'm going to decide how I die, you know? It's either going to be someone that's going to take the time, really make me feel like, hey, I'm putting all my effort into this because I don't want you to run away. I don't want you to maybe like...
Make you really feel safe.
Yeah. I don't want someone that's like, I know you won't get away. Yeah, it's fine. Come on.
What are you doing? Oh, shut up.
Yeah, exactly. I want to be treated like... I would love to get a whole pit to myself. I would love someone to like feed me things in a bucket. I don't have to do anything all day. They just like... I would love that.
Or like Ted Bundy, you know, he's just like, I need help in my car, and then fucking hits you over the head with like a wrench.
So easy. Yeah. I would have been so easy.
You'd have been like, I'd love to help. Do you got any food? He's like, there's tons of it.
I would give him the tools to help abduct me, but I don't know. Is there food?
He's like, I'll get you a giant frozen...
Is it down here in the attic or whatever, up here in the attic?
Yeah,
in the basement.
Where's the food? Do you keep the fridge in the? Is there a second fridge in the attic? Yeah. Oh no, in the basement, under the shed. Yeah. No, let's go.
He's like in his diary, like this one actually
at 10 p.m.
willingly.
I turn into the girlfriend. I still think she doesn't know where these women are disappearing to. God, no, I wouldn't be that bad, but. I would just get myself killed, not other people, probably. I think I would notice. I would notice.
Well, that's like there was that...
It's hard to know.
I mean, yeah, what's Ben doing right now, really?
Like he's getting ready to kill you.
No, somebody else.
Oh. Someone else is killing Ben?
Yeah. No, like he's killing other people, but I just don't know. Because he did it. Well, I never knew he did it during the podcast. That's what I was saying in my interviews.
He has it all walled off like Dexter. He's just out there like... That's why he wants to use... He's like, can I get a smoker in the backyard?
Do you remember whenever I told you that like 70% of koala bears have chlamydia?
Yeah.
Okay. It's actually 90% now, just so you know.
I mean, I would imagine if 70%... Like, imagine if they were like, hey, you live in America, 70% of men and women have chlamydia. That number's gonna rise.
Right. Yeah. There's no way it's not gonna rise. So 90% of the koalians, poor things, have chlamydia. And I know we've had conversations about like, man, how do we think koalas got chlamydia versus humans? Like, what is that? Is it, I don't know if this is how it started, but I did learn you can get chlamydia from a koala from a scratch. They scratch you with their nail and you get their chlamydia.
Jesus.
So,
I mean, that makes sense.
Why does that make sense?
Because, like, that's how you can get infected. Like,
but, like, for us...
From a nail! Like, for us, it has to be bodily fluids. Like, we're not getting any of the koala's fluid in us. He's just literally...
God, that would be so scary.
yeah, but, like, animals, like, you know, like snakes, they have their venom in their mouth.
Maybe he's got a little bit.
They keep chlamydia in their claws.
You never know.
That's how they attack.
That's how they've evolved
They just hope.
to live with it. They're like, no, it just chills in our nails. So
It's just drifts.
don't fight me.
Like, open your mouth.
When they sleep at night, they have to like lay their hands on tree branches so it drips off, so they don't kill themselves. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, I thought that was insane that you can get chlamydia from a scratch. I didn't know that.
A scratch from a koala. Do you think like, you know, koalas are in Australia and stuff, right? Do you think Australians are like worried about that? I would be terrified.
Well, there has to be a reason we know that. It's happened. Poor Australians are getting chlamydia from the koalas.
They're like, oh my goodness, this koala's on the road and it's a baby and it gets scratched. You got chlamydia. Try to explain that to your wife.
Why do you think the fire started? They were trying to get rid of the koalas. They're like, fuck you!
This guy's
You've
like,
ended a relationship. Yeah, you've ruined my life for the last time! I feel so bad. There's got to be a way, though. Like, there's surely it's a different strain. Like, when they test for it, surely they can be like, this is koala chlamydia, this is human. God.
Give them some morphine, huh? Fix it out.
Hey, they won't scratch. Get rid of the problem.
And why don't we go and just put, like, mass medicine in, like, the koalas? Why don't we just get a bunch of, like...
You're like to find, like, a...
injection,
like a cure.
Syringes. Yeah. We fill them up with the anti-chlamydia medicine that we take, and we just in all
it's called animal cruelty.
to rid them of a disease.
Because you don't know if it's gonna work.
That's true.
Well, we tested on a small percentage, and then if they die, no harm, no foul. They had chlamydia.
It's pretty harmful.
They had chlamydia. There's so many koalas, probably. I don't know the numbers. They're probably endangered. There's probably like There's probably like the koala.
They're like they're only in this one, you know, province of Australia.
Probably that's probably what it is. I mean, literally, the poor sloths. We went from 50 to 2, but they're so slow. That makes sense. Yeah. They're so slow. I did want to say, you remember when my heart was broken whenever I figured out about Ray Liotta? Well, I didn't figure it out. You told me.
Yeah.
I really do miss him. And I really do. I just don't feel like I really got to say all the things I wanted to say. And I just, last time.
Ray Liotta?
At all. Yeah, I didn't get to say anything I needed to say to Ray Liotta. So Let's
get a tribute right now. Come on.
What I really liked about him the most probably was I feel like he got an absurd amount of comments or notes from interviewers about his smile or his laugh, because he always was known for having a very animated face. And so people would be like, man, when you have like those full face smiles and you like have that like full laughter, are you pulling from anything? Are you like, how do you get those reactions? And he's like, I just laugh. If I find something funny, I'm just going to let it out. Like, I'm not going to hide it. It's not anything I'm trying to put on. It's not anything extra. It's me. And I always identified with that.
He's just like, I thought it was funny, so I was laughing.
Because I laugh at everything. And people, I get not like shit, but I will get comments like, man, you laugh a lot. And I'm like, yeah, I do. A lot of shit's funny.
You're like, sorry.
And I love it. Myself. I love that it's funny. I love that shit's funny and I laugh and I'm sorry. But Ray Liotta was like that. And anyways, I just wanted to say that I love him and I miss him. And I found his replacement.
That was quite a tribute.
Yeah, I found
quite the ending.
Yeah, I found his replacement. So you know how? Well, I wanted to say that because I know it sounds heartless when I say I found his replacement, but we have to move on. I found his replacement because I told you that he was like the gross guy, that I wouldn't just let him do anything to me, even though he was kind of gross.
Yeah, he's kind of. I think he just played a lot of like sleazy characters.
Right. He's actually not gross at all.
He sounds like a nice guy.
I was gonna say, and when I say gross, at that time it was really gross just because of the age difference. I'm like, people might think that's gross, but I'd still let him do anything to me. Well, I have my new, like, people might think, what?
Your new silver fox?
I'd let him do anything to me. And it's a new one for me because I hate rich people. I hate billionaires. But I would let Bill Gates do whatever the fuck he wanted.
Just for that hour?
Bill Gates is the new...
Why?
Oh, he's such a good man. Because he's the only superhumanly rich person with a conscience.
Yeah.
I mean, he gives so much of his money away. He has given over $6 billion to Planned Parenthood. His dad was actually on the board of National Planned Parenthood for 20 plus years. So he has been super pro women's rights and everything his whole life. And I hate him for how much money he has, but he does good. He does good things with it, and I'd return the favor. Thank you. So, just anybody knows Bill Gates?
Yeah, let me
not now.
Microsoft customer support real quick.
Not now because I'm in a loving, committed relationship. But if just saying, alternate universe, Bill Gates is probably the new grossest.
What's his wife's name?
Ex-wife Melinda.
Ex-wife Melinda Gates. There you go.
Mm-hmm. And that actually broke my heart when they got divorced. That made me very sad. But because they're both really nice people, I was like, I'm sure it is for the best if they're actually separating. But it did make me sad.
I love all of the
I cared.
Who are like, oh, Bill Gates, he's donating to all these different medical research stuff. He donates a lot of stuff.
He does, and he has he's brought so many vaccines to Africa. It's fucking insane.
It's funny to me. All these people are like, oh, how is he gonna tout speaking on health, and he's not even that healthy of a dude. I'm like, okay, just because he's not super in shape. One, he's pretty old.
He hires the right people. That's the thing.
Saying.
Yes,
it's not him doing the work.
And in every interview, that's what he says. When people are like, "Man, how did you get this? Now you're serving millions of children in Africa. How do you feel about that?" And he's like, "Well, it was just an idea for me. I'm not doing this. I have engineers. I would have no idea how to do this. I have to have people help me." That's just it's honest. He's not fucking Elon Musk over here I'll buy Twitter. Never mind. Let's all go to space. I fucking hate Elon Musk. I hate him. But we're not going to get into that.
Did you hear when he's like, yeah, I'm rich because I don't have a house or something like that?
Elon Musk or Bill Gates?
No, Elon Musk. Then I was like, oh, I don't know about that.
You're you could totally have the nicest house. He's a weird dude, Elon Musk. I think
he is. Yeah.
He's there's a level when you get so smart, especially in the type of work that he does, engineers and stuff like that. All of a sudden, because that's all he's doing constantly is trying to be oh, I'm thinking of new ideas, how to build this.
Yeah.
That when he comes to a social interaction or an interview, it's literally he's I don't know how to talk to you.
It's so bad.
He's if you're not another engineer, I have to. That's why he's always talking like that. He's thinking about almost how to dumb it down for the rest of us here.
And see, Bill Gates is just so good at that. He's been dumbing it down for us for years. So he doesn't even, he's computer on shiny. Then I'm I get it. Thank you.
Yeah.
He's just trying to shoot a shot with you, that's all.
I mean, shiny's the way to go. I like glitter. But not that I will ever meet him. And because Bill Gates is the person that I think he is, even if I met him and was hey, anything you want, I really think he'd be you're a little young for me. I'm sorry. I really think
I don't know about that.
Really? I'm younger than his daughter. I think it'd be difficult for him.
I think it might be difficult for him because he was in that relationship with Melinda for so long.
Right. Like
he hasn't been dating younger women.
Yeah. Like I
Usually
just think he'd be like,
stay dating younger women.
Like if I went up to Leonardo DiCaprio, he'd be like, "You're too old, sweetie. Sorry." But now Bill Gates, I just feel like, yeah, he's one of the few men. And I would like to say the same about Ray Liotta, but I don't know. Even Ray Liotta might have been like, okay, yeah, we could do something. But there's even something about him that I feel like he might be like, you're really young. Like, they're just not into it. Which then, of course, I'm like, oh my God, he's respectful too. So then I'd probably have to molest him. And poor Bill Gates.
And then if it was 1922, they would have just beat you.
With rocks.
If it was 1922, Bill Gates probably would be a nobody because he was like a tech.
Yeah, but what?
He'd be a wizard. Yeah, that's what they, that's
No, you're right.
People like
you're
witches
right.
or wizards.
Legit. That's what would have happened.
He practices witchcraft. Microsoft is the devil.
It would be Excel. That's like what they chant in their satanic cults.
Him and Ford would be fighting because Ford was like the assembly line and he was like, I guess the richest person.
I guess Ford, would have been that times Bezos or Bill Gates or whatever. Is Bezos still number one?
No, I think it's Elon Musk again. I don't know. They just go back and forth.
Do they?
Yeah. It's like they go back and forth, and Bill Gates is third, and then I think like Warren Buffett's 4.
Well, I think Musk is 1 because of Twitter now.
Yeah.
I think he's number 1.
And then, 2 I think is Bezos, 3 Gates, 4 Buffett. There might be someone, and then Warren Buffett.
Who's Warren Buffett?
Warren Buffett.
Is he like a business person?
Yeah, he's like a big business mogul. I shouldn't say mogul. Big. Like,
I was thinking Jimmy Buffett.
Berkshire Hathaway.
I was thinking Jimmy Buffett. That's who I was thinking. I was like, the music guy?
You're like the Margaritaville dude?
Right. I was like the one guy that only has that one song I hear. Like, wow, it's doing very well.
You're like, oh man, that song made a lot of money, didn't it?
No wonder he only did the one. He's like, I'm done.
If you made one song, that would be the best one-hit wonder ever. You made one song, and then all of a sudden you're the 4th richest person on the planet.
Holy crap. Yeah, that would be insane. I mean, are the Rockefellers even on that list, on the top 100 list anymore?
Oh, probably. Top 100, I would say definitely.
Yeah? Oh, okay.
I'm not looking up.
Top 10?
Just people.
Ooh, I don't know about top 10.
I think they could fall out of the top 10.
And is that the family that was... The big pharma family, are they?
The Rockefellers, I think, were oil.
Right, but there's a big pharma family that was like being sued by a bunch of people because of they were pushing opium or they were pushing drugs that were more addictive. I can't remember the name of the family now, but they were like, it's fine, we'll just pay it out of our personal fortunes because they each have like billions and billions of dollars. I can't remember the name of the family now, and it's going to drive me crazy.
All right, number 1 is Elon Musk.
Okay.
219 billion. 2 is Bezos at 171. The Bernard Arnault and family, it says. I don't know.
Is that Walmart?
Oversees LVMH empire of some 70 fashion and cosmetic brands, including Louis Vuitton and Sephora.
Oh,
So
wait, yeah, because I think they all merged.
Yeah.
All the expensive
they
clothes brands.
That's
They got bought out by one person.
Jesus.
So Bill Gates is 4. Warren Buffett is 5. And then it's a bunch of names I don't know. Larry Page, Sergey Brin, Larry Ellison. Those 2 first names were... The first 2 names were Google. It just says software for Larry Ellison. Steve Ballmer, Microsoft. Mukesh Ambani just says diversified. That rounds out the top 10.
Interesting. Okay.
Wow. Where is...
I don't know what list it is, but because of all of the money that Melinda got in the divorce, I actually saw her name on a list of like richest females or something in America, and I was like, fuck yeah, that's cool.
Isn't it the same?
All you have to do is get a divorce.
Yeah.
Just find Jeff
She's
Bezos
I mean,
or Bill Gates and,
She's also like a very nice person, though. She also gives away a lot of her money.
Oh, well, yeah. We're not dogging,
No, I know. I'm just saying like that. She's also a really cool rich person. So it's like those two. There's probably more rich, like all of the rich people that we don't know about because they stay out of the news. Like they're probably really cool too. They're probably like, rich people are fucking crazy. I'm just going to be over here.
I'm getting a blank right now. It's like that. The one family, not the Rockefellers, but it was the big family in Europe, and they like the big conspiracy theory family, and but they actually own like a lot of the like central banks in like a lot of the countries or something.
Oh.
The Rothschilds. There we go. Have you ever heard about them? They're like the original bankers from Europe, like way back in the day, because it was against like Christian law to charge interest, because they said it was like interest was yeah. So that was an actual thing. So Christians couldn't loan out money and make interest. They basically just like, would loan out money and then you're just eventually going to get it back.
A 1-for-1 return.
Yeah. And
but not even that, because money like goes down in time.
Yeah.
So really
value,
you're getting less back.
But I think it was the Rothschilds were a Jewish family, so they didn't fall under Christian law. So they started, charging like interest and stuff like that, which is funny and I don't remember where I watched this, because right when I saw that, I was like, that's probably why they're like, racist stereotype to Jews is like, oh, they're all like
probably
and stuff like that. Because like, especially back in the day, it'd be like, oh, you don't want to, get a loan from a Jew because they're going to charge you more. And back then they're probably like, that's so ridiculous. And it's like, well, how am I supposed to make any money off?
Right. Right.
So
really everybody else was kind of getting screwed.
But yeah, so they're like the original like banking family. I went on like a YouTube or like binge.
No, you went
just
an article.
An article binge, you're right.
You went on an article.
And I was doing some research.